I am the author of I Left Christianity and Found Christ. Okay, and it deals with church abuse and the spiritual abuse that a lot of women encounter. I devote a whole chapter to the abuse, physical and mental and spiritual abuse that women go through and encounter around the Christian world. Okay, but before I go into my subject, okay, I just quickly want to go into the definition of methods of manipulation that they call the Jezebel spirit, okay, which is we start off with primal fears, okay, divide and conquer, indoctrination, financial system, chaos of sorcery, religious binding. This is just some of the let's just continue some of the techniques. Okay, another one: seek to control, influence, and dominate, falsely accusing men of God. She lacks self-control. She's manipulating. She's jealous and envious. She's void of any empathy. She also seeks entitlement. So if you notice, it's she. Okay, so the Jezebel spirit obviously is a woman. Now, Jezebel was a sort of prophetess of Baal who led Ahab into Baal worship. So Jezebel was not a woman of God. Okay, she was a wicked woman. But if you understand the Jewish patriarchy and how they hated women, let me give you an example. When the woman was caught in adultery, and what did the Jews do? What did the Pharisee do? They caught her naked and they stripped her from the house, left the man alone. They left her, they said, okay, for men to do it. They got the woman caught in adultery, this Jezebel spirit, this wicked woman, and they dragged her naked, bare butt, in front of the Holy One of Israel. They didn't care. They knew this man was special, but they didn't care. They hated women so badly. They hated women, so they dragged their bare butt. And they says, look, the law of Moses says, kill this woman, kill her. This Jezebel spirit, kill her. The misogyny coming out, kill her. And Jesus, he looked at this woman battered and bruised. I don't know what they did to her, but they must have dragged her on the floor, pulled her hair. And Jesus, in his love and forgiveness, he said, let he without sin, you men, you holy men, let he without sin cast that stone and kill her, the first stone, you without sin. And he went on the floor and Jesus started writing. He must have been exposing their wickedness, their treachery, their deceitfulness, their hypocrisies. And when when the accusers walked away one by one, probably swearing under their breath, who do you think he is? Look at him. But they walked away. They couldn't even pick up one brick because their conscience were pricked. Then Jesus looked up and he says, where are all your accusers? Where are all the men? All these holy men, these self-righteous men, look at me. I keep the Sabbath. Look at me. And the poor woman says, I don't see any. And Jesus said, go, I forgive you, but don't go and sin. Go and sin no more. The liberal philosophy, they can do whatever you want. This is the liberal Christianity. But Jesus says, go and sin no more. I forgive you. So Jesus was attacking the male patriarch of Moses, which women were oppressed under. But I now lead to my subject. The male institution, Catholicism, etc., all male priest and male bishop, I don't want to go too deep into it. It's almost like a male ritual, okay? An organization, a kind of Freemason. It's all about men, and the women are the dogs' bodies. And they use the Bible out of context. Let me now give you the context. The people's favorite words, women shouldn't preach. Women shouldn't preach. Why? Because they comparing women who love Jesus, if they're preaching the truth. Women who, I don't mean Joyce Myers, right? And certain fake female prophetess, but women who love Jesus, I want to share that gospel. But according to men, no woman can be saved. No woman can be a prophet, quote unquote. The Bible says there's either male or female, and we're all called to baptize. We're all called to spread the gospel. But not women. You're a Jezebel. Christ didn't die for you. You're a Jezebel. Now let me get to the context. The Corinthians church was rampant with the occult, rampant with sex. Look at most of the churches today. They're fake pastors who have sex, but nobody attacked them. Nobody attacked them if they throw their tithe to them. No problem. All these fake Nigerian pastors, all the fake pastors in America and Britain, in fact, Seventh-day Adventists, are rampant with child abuse, but they don't care. It's a man. It's a man. They don't care, you hypocrites. They don't care. I must stop being emotional. They don't care. But it's a man. But when a woman lives a holy life, a blameless life, look, I cover all this in a whole chapter of this beautiful book. Where she lives a holy life, a blameless life, she gets abused. Did you know domestic violence is rampant in the Seventh-day Adventist church? Men who use the Bible out of context to manipulate her. Oh, you're a witch, you're a Jezebel, because she has an education. Or she dares stand up for herself, so she has a Jezebel spirit. And this is just men practicing misogyny, but using the Bible as a weapon. Ow! Using the Bible as a weapon. I remember when I must well mention it, when I went to Camp Hill Church in Birmingham, and I saw this tender and meek Christian woman, Seventh-day Adventist. I was hopping from one church to another, looking for the true church. That's what religion does for you. Looking for the true church, not realizing that Christ is the truth. However, this Seventh-day Adventist black woman was being punched right in front of the congregation because why? She's only a woman. Shut up, woman, shut up. 2 Timothy says, shut up. Not, husband, love your wives like Christ loved the church. They forget that. They love the so-called violent text. It justifies male misogyny. And you wonder why the church is rampant with domestic violence. I might as well speak out. Nobody else talking about it. It's a male institution, and Christ died to stop this male institution. And me being flesh and blood, I was wild in those days. I offered out the husband to knock his block off. He's funny, right? And domestic, when you marry somebody, you're trusting them. You're trusting them with your heart, with your soul, and then you're going to abuse them. And the worst kind of abuse is when you use spirituality against them. Let's talk about Jezebel. Jezebel, she was not a woman of God. She followed Baal. And to compare Christian women to Jezebel, it tells you the kind of psychology that men have towards women. That even if you preach Christ, you're a Jezebel. Now, please, I've come across some dodgy female, preachers who don't sound right. I've come across many male preachers asking females for blowjobs, right? Preaching strange heresy. But you know something? Nobody called them out. Just like the Pharisees, when they saw the woman, right, having sex with somebody who was the husband, and they dragged her out naked, they left the men alone. They left the men. But what did they do? They went for the woman. Typical men. Went for the woman, ignored, the guy, and said, look, we caught her, in prostitution or in adultery. The law of Moses says, throw the stone and kill her. But Jesus, being love, he knew the nature of man. He knew the nature of human beings. And he says, you hypocrite. I can see what Jesus is thinking. You hypocrite. Let ye without sin. You're so perfect. Go on, you're so perfect. Domestic violence is high, rampant. Do you know there's more videos on YouTube attacking women, preachers called Jezebel Spirit, than they are exposing the charlatans, the mega churches, by making money from the poor, pastors who are raping women? You know the number of male pastors who rape children, rape women. The people are quiet. People are quiet. It's okay. It's men. Let them baptize me in a dodgy spirit. Look, this book goes deep into it. I know you won't buy it. You're too scared. You hate the truth. They baptize you to strange spirits. You wonder why you're oppressed. They don't mind. These kind of men, they don't care as long as a man. When Paul, I'm sticking to pure scriptures. When Paul, I think it was Pauline, and because she was a woman, and the church males did not accept her. And Paul, he's a rabbi. And Paul says, look, I've sounded her out. Meaning, not because she's a woman. She's not Jezebel. She's not into Baal worship. She loves Jesus. Accept her as your own. Hence why we are told that either male or female, black or white, all are one in Christ. Anyone who tells you any different, they have a male misogynist agenda. We are called unto holiness, to live a clean and blameless life. We might fall, we might fail, but still we strive to be Christ-like. And when a woman does that, she's an equal level to any man. But the church won't teach that. Why? For the simple reason, it's about money. Male dominating business. Keep women out of it. This is a secret male club. This is a secret Freemason. They definitely ain't the gospel. It's a Freemason for men only. I'm going too deep. Too deep. So keep the females to one side. Batter her, beat her, crush her spirit. If she dares want her education, she's a Jezebel spirit. That's how these men dominate these women. Wicked we are, wicked, we're no good. We take the purity of the gospel and we use it for evil, for our own selfish male gain. Jezebel, you find in male pastors. They're full of control. I went to a church in Wolverhampton and the pastor, who was a man, had a Jezebel spirit. He was controlling. That's a Jezebel spirit. He wasn't preaching the gospel. He was preaching black consciousness, black culture. He didn't teach me no gospel. That's a Jezebel spirit leading you away from Christ. When Jezebel was being deceived, who deceived her? A male spirit. A Jezebel male spirit. It wasn't a female spirit. A Jezebel male spirit deceived Jezebel to lead the people of God to fertility and Baal worship. But of course, when we have an agenda, we don't want to see the truth. We're all caught up in our own prejudices. And as a result, we don't want to see women as equal to us. We have this cave mentality where we want to dominate and crush a woman. This book, this beautiful book, in fact, I found the chapter for you. The unholy union, violence, rape against Christian women. And also, as chapter 28, and then a further chapter is pagan women versus Christian women. I don't know if you can see it. Okay? Pagan women versus Christian women. They want you to believe that Jezebel, any woman in the church, any woman with godly intentions, if she dare just to want to talk about Christ, what he's done for her, if she spreads the gospel. But what's interesting, this is a contradiction. She can go on the streets and preach the gospel. She can go on the streets and lead people to Christ. Yeah, what's interesting, she can't preach on the pulpit. What is the difference? That is the difference. She can go on the streets and lead people to Christ. That she can do. They don't mind that. Come on, bring people to Christ. Or are they really saying, bring people into the church? Look, this book is very powerful. Why do you think it's titled, I Left Christianity and I Found Christ? I left Freemason and I found Christ. Women can go on the streets. They can preach in the rain, in the snow. Come on, bring in the punters. But you can't preach from the pulpit? Think about it. This is the contradiction with these male misogynists. I end this video. Let he without sin cast the first stone. Are you without sin? Do you live a holy and blameless life? I know I don't. One guy, I hope he's watching this. I was preaching passionately, and all I said was the word goddamn. Goddamn. Oh, he's not a Christian. He doesn't even know what I've been through. He doesn't even know what I've sacrificed. He doesn't even know that. But just because I used the word goddamn, I hope he's watching this video. He's not a Christian. He had nothing to say about the fake prophets. All these men asking women for sex. He didn't care about that. He's like a Pharisee straining at the gnat and swallowing a camel. These are kind of people that oppress women. I've seen these kind of guys in churches. I've seen them. Oh, what? I'm going too deep here. I have to make another video. The number of women that are being abused by these psychotic Christian men. Psychotic. I don't care if I lose subscribers. I haven't got many anyway. People hate the truth. One guy said to me, gosh, you deserve more subscribers. I said, look at Jesus. All he had was 12 disciples, and one, was a traitor. People don't want the truth, which is why they follow, these mega church pastors. Broad is the way that leads to destruction, and people prefer that. So I'm not in it for subscribers. If everybody was to cancel tonight, don't bother me. At the end of the day, these psychotic men, right, use the Bible to oppress women. That's what they do. Okay, just my computer's come off. Right? That's what they do. They use the Bible to oppress women. Just give me 2 seconds. Sorry, my computer's playing up. So they use the Bible, to crush women, to oppress them. And what's going to shock you? Even without the Bible, they would still have that same mindset. Even without the Bible, they would still have that same mindset. They just now have an excuse. They have an excuse to keep women down. Men who are cowardly, they can't deal with a worldly woman. So they think, I know what I'll do. I go to church, pretend I know Jesus, and I will find the perfect subservient wife. I've seen it done. I've seen it. How can you believe in God and you batter your wife? You beat her up. Oh, I'm getting too angry. Right? How can you claim you believe in a God of love, but you don't show that same love to your woman? Something don't add up. There's loads of videos on the Jezebel Spirit, but you know something? They have nothing to say about the Jezebel male pastors who abuse women, abuse kids. They have nothing to say about those kind of male Jezebels. Why not? You know something? I rather go to a church where a female pastor knows Jesus, preach a sound doctrine, not New Age, a sound doctrine, than I would a fake pastor who pretends that he's a believer, but in it for the money. Think about that.